Hi boys, welcome to session 1. This is the first chapter, which we're just going to look at what an actual large-scale organisation is and the different types. So first of all, large-scale organisation is an enterprise that employs 200 or more employees. So that's the main factor that you need to write down. There's a couple of other factors that we can use to determine whether a business is a large-scale organisation or not. First of all, total assets more than $200 million, annual sales or revenue in the millions, net profit in the millions, even though sometimes they can lose millions of dollars. That's one we can use, and the extent of operations is transnational, or another word which is the same you might hear is multinational. That means that the company is owned and based in one country, but it operates in other countries also. So they're the main factors. The key is that it is operating on a large scale. So the different types of large-scale organisations, the first one, which is the most common one that we'll talk about throughout the year, is a corporation. You might see that as a corporation or a company. It pretty much means the same thing. So their aim is either by selling goods or services that they make a profit and add to net assets. They can be privately owned or publicly owned. So privately owned, they can have up to 50 private shareholders. And if it's publicly owned, that means it's listed on a particular stock exchange, like the Australian Stock Exchange, and that can have thousands of different owners. It's controlled by a board of directors, and some examples are BHP Billiton and Westpac or Commonwealth Bank, although anyone that's listed on the stock exchange, or a private one, for example, Costas. A government business enterprise is a mixture between the government and a corporation. So it's owned by the government, but also owned by shareholders. Its aim is to provide a service or product to the public and also make a profit. Controlled by the board of directors, but it has government input, so that's the difference. Australia Post and Vic Roads are your examples. Government department is stepping away now from making a profit as such. So it's owned by the government, and a government minister is responsible for that department. So it could be the Department of Education, where there's a government minister that's in charge of that. So the aim is to provide a service and to the community, and also to satisfy social or political objectives. So that's why they might give particular funding into a certain department. So it might be into the education department to make sure that they try and get re-elected, but also provide great education for our future. Charities and foundations are fairly self-explanatory. Charities provide assistance in the form of goods and services, or even finance, to disadvantaged or marginalised groups, and essentially they're there to help the broader community. So your World Vision and Salvation Army, and foundations give money to those in need. So the Heart Foundation, Shane Warne Foundation, Jane McGrath Foundation, those type of organisations. So they're the main types of organisations that you need to know. So just notice the difference in the aim, the ownership, and the examples.